Taking Care of Your Business is a series of programs to help small businesses succeed in Scottsdale. This program is presented by Scottsdale's Economic Development Department at 2 p.m. the first Friday of each month in the Eureka Loft, a free collaborative workspace at the Scottsdale Civic Center Library. Learn how to take care of your business at choosescottsdale.com.
Mark said my name is Mike Ritter. I'm a Code Enforcement Supervisor for the City of Scottsdale. I've been with the city about 25 years now, and the last 15 been all in code enforcement. So been doing this a little while, and when Mark asked me about this, I just wanted to figure out a way to. We get a lot of the building questions, and because it's code enforcement, so everyone's thinking building code, and we're a little bit different than the building guys. Obviously, we're going to be more on the exterior and the maintenance of the neighborhood and the maintenance of the structures and so forth, where the building guys are on the front end, making sure it's built correctly to the building code. So the big difference is we're going to handle the housing code issues. They're going to handle the building code. It's a little difference there. So that said, how many of you really know what code does? I just explained it. Come on, there's a test. Yeah. Has anyone had any experience with the code enforcement department? All right, so you all been good. All right, pulling your weeds, washing, painting the house, all that good stuff? No? Not this time of year. We believe the rules and regulations Scottsdale has enacted ensure that the community is going to be safe and attractive. We're going to have safe and attractive neighborhoods and a vibrant business district for everyone to enjoy. And if you look around, I think we're doing pretty good. Some of our goals for today, I'd like to raise the awareness of code enforcement in Scottsdale, because you guys didn't answer my first question, so I think we're going to have to bring that up now. Learn our Scottsdale code enforcement objective and how we get there, the tools that we use to get there, and then learn how we can partner together in the future to continue to make Scottsdale look beautiful. Constantly asked what I do, and this came across the internet one day from an American Association of Code Enforcement, and nobody's ever defined it, to be honest with you. You look at my job description or a code inspector's job description, this is what it should be. For those, I'll read it. This was put together by Joseph Jarrett. He's a professor at the University of Tennessee. He states, they trek where others fear to tread in unsafe structures. Excuse me, I got a bad angle here. I got to memorize this, so that's my problem. In unsafe structures, in yards patrolled by vicious dogs, in confined spaces where vermin make their home, and in debris-strewn tracts of land, they are empowered to issue citations and require landowners to remove debris, blight, repair dilapidated, overcrowded, and unsafe housing. They are most often unwelcome, verbally abused, and at times physically assaulted and even killed. They have the dubious distinction of working in a necessary, albeit often misunderstood and maligned profession. They are code enforcement officers. I think it sums it up perfectly. I do, but I'm going to educate you on what we do. So off camera, we'll go into the stories. All code enforcement is based on this broken window theory. George Kelling wrote about it in 1982 in the Atlantic Monthly. As we get older, we all take steps to improve and maintain our health. Same goes for neighborhoods and structures. They all require maintenance to stay in good shape as they get older. Individual structures and neighborhoods that are not maintained not only deteriorate beyond a usable point, they also can cost property owners money. When property values fall, vandalism and crime can occur more frequently. Simply put, maintaining a good neighborhood is individual property owners' responsibilities. But as you know, sometimes we have irresponsible property owners. So the community comes together, just like they did in Scottsdale, and they ask the city to make regulations that we get to enforce. These will usually create minimum standards for housing and businesses. Some of the ordinances that we enforce, we have the Scottsdale zoning ordinance. It's a lovely blue book. This building also uses this. That's kind of one of the same tools we do share. This is all your zoning, setbacks, overlays for the desert to preserve the lands as we go up north especially. You go north of McCormick Ranch, this is probably more that we use. Our Chapter 18 is our property maintenance. It's a little bit thinner, but this is your grass and weeds. This is paint your house, your junk vehicles, your storage of items, things of that nature. And this is pretty much our bread and butter. South of McCormick Ranch, I would say 90% of what we do. We also have adopted the uniform abatement of dangerous buildings, and we'll cover that in a little bit. If we have an open vacant building, we want to secure it or knock it down, this gives us the tools and resources to do it. We have the uniform housing code that gets us interior to homes. This is more effective if there's a landlord rental problem, maybe a slumlord issue. If we can get in there, we can do the enforcement through this ordinance. And these are universally adopted from the international codes, and the city adopts certain chapters and certain aspects of it. Our code inspectors are empowered by the state of Arizona to enforce all the local, county, state statutes adopted by the city or assigned to them. That's what we just covered over that. Inspectors respond to complaints via email, telephone. They also perform routine patrols to locate violations throughout Scottsdale's 184 square miles of residential, commercial, and preserved land. Scottsdale code inspectors are recognized through the American Association of Code Enforcement and by the Code Enforcement League of Arizona. The objective of code enforcement is to maintain the community aesthetics, well-being of Scottsdale neighborhoods by proactively addressing blight and nuisances while creating a link between the city and residents. Creating that link requires communication. So what do? We have a meeting, right? Everybody say meeting? So in 2004, we found out through focus groups and surveys, we weren't doing a very good job. Focus groups revealed a demand from citizens for timely responses, proactive enforcement, and faster resolution. So we came up with response times of 48 hours when we receive a complaint. Currently, according to the International City Managers Association, we're responding within 2 hours to a complaint. A lot of that has to do with our in-house computer program that we're very fortunate to have. That's down from last year, was 0.3, so we're making progress with our staff, and we're actually working with less staff. We want 50% of our cases to be proactive. Last year, we handled 14,222 cases, and 10,072 of those were as a result of our inspectors being proactive. So a lot of times we hear, oh, I know who called me in, I know it's my neighbor, we don't get along, or this or that. Not true. We got 71% of our cases are initiated through our code inspectors. So we heard the message loud and clear, you want us to find it before you see it. That was an increase of 1%. Last year we were at 70. We want a 30-day resolution on all of our cases. This past year we closed them within 15 days, and that was down by 2. We were at 17 days in 2013, or 2012. A newer measure, voluntary compliance. Over the last year, 72% of our cases were solved on a voluntary basis. That's huge. That keeps us out of the courtrooms and makes it a lot simpler for everybody. Any questions on this? Okay. Our code enforcement process, it's designed to aid in our performance of those key measures that we just went over. So when the complaint comes in, it's very simple. It's logged into the computer, assigned to the inspector. Within 2 days, as you just learned, within 2 hours we're out there. And this is kind of where the make or break is. We're either going to agree with what you said about the violation, and we're going to issue a notice or make some kind of contact with the property owner. Can you guys see okay? Okay. Or we're going to disagree with you and we're going to end up closing the case at this point. The notice is written, we issue it to the property owner, we have a reinspection date. Hopefully they comply by the time we come back. If we don't, then there's civil or criminal penalties that could happen, right? Our compliance is achieved through voluntary induced and partnerships. Voluntary is preferred for us, obviously. This way we all succeed. Unfortunately, there are times when we do have to issue citations. Last year we only issued 20. Out of our 14,222 cases, 20 citations is pretty darn good. That means our staff is out there being effective, they're communicating, they're working with property owners. We have a theory that somebody formed it long ago, but there's a story behind every door. And we try and use that mantra as we move forward to find out what's going on. Everybody's got issues right now through the economy and everything else. And we're blessed here in Scottsdale to have a number of resources that we'll talk about soon that can help us solve some of these problems. So, as I was saying, we're blessed to have that large volunteer base, a council commitment, and resources that form a program called Operation Fix It that we'll talk about here in a little bit. You probably all maybe know somebody or live next to a property that's been a repeat violator. Maybe we go out there, tell them to cut their grass. Next month, I got to go out there and tell them again. The month after that, well, during those focus groups, we were hearing you guys didn't want community. You got tired of that. It should be a one and done type thing. So the best we could come up with is a repeat violator process, which works the same, except at this point, when the call for services comes in, we start research, see if there's any violations within the last 2 years of any type. It doesn't have to be just for the grass. Maybe their house is peeling now or needs paint, or they have a junk vehicle or outside storage. If it's a chronic repeat violator, we can go right to the civil or criminal citation if we need to and avoid all the other stuff. Again, we try and find out that story, see what's going on. We're not in a rush to write tickets, as you saw with only 20 issued for the year. Everybody follow me so far? You're all awake, so that's good. Oh. At any time during the investigation of a property maintenance zoning case, people can go to my neighborhood, they can find your green little dots. It'll be red dots, not these, but for zoning violations, green for property maintenance, and that pretty much covers it on those. We have a few flags that are on here showing that they're vacant and an issue. So.
Mike, does my neighborhood also include commercial businesses as well?
I believe it includes everything, yes. So you type in the parameters for it. Another way that I mentioned earlier, our computer program is designed in-house by our information systems department. And this helps keep our inspectors safe by just being able to put on some warning tags. As you can see, we'll talk about foreclosures. These are some of the things you might see on that map, but it'll talk about animal warnings for inspector notes, inspector safety. Unfortunately, some people like to get aggressive with us sometimes, and so we'll let the inspector know before they even get out there. Maybe take a police officer with you or whatever the case may be. So far it's been very effective and nobody's been hurt. Some of our top violations. If you're a business owner in here, you're going to learn about our sign ordinance. It's one of the strictest ones in the valley. We also been dealing a lot with vacant properties, foreclosed properties still. Odds are if you might live near one or have a friend or family member that lives near a vacant or foreclosed property. We get involved with those quite a bit. We're able to work with a lot of the vendors that the banks use and get them to secure the properties and maintain them, even if nobody's in them. So it's a really good relationship going there. We streamline that through a company called Safeguard. They're our first contact on some of those that we can't track down. Green pools, we work with Maricopa County very closely with the West Nile virus this time of year. Again, there's a story behind the door. Sometimes people can't afford the electricity or the pool pump went out, and we know how that can be expensive to repair. So they will end up finding those, and we'll abate the issue and we'll get it corrected. So this way we don't want that West Nile developing, and so far we've been able to work with the county to keep that from happening. And then your regular grass weeds and so forth, okay? Just take a look at some of these. It is election season, so this is what you will see. We can't do anything by state law on some of these campaign signs in the right of way unless they are deteriorated, falling, they're down, been graffitied. Then we'll go out there and we'll remove them and we'll work with the candidate to tell them, we have your sign, do you want it back? And tell them where they can get it at. So We also have our businesses putting out their little bandit signs. If those are in the right of way, we're going to remove them. If we keep seeing them, you will probably get a notice from us or a visit from one of the inspectors asking you not to do it. Vacant properties. This is a huge thing. We obviously, a lot of bad things can happen in a vacant building, especially if children are nearby. And we want to know about it right away. If you see one, you call us. We have a contractor on our abatement process that will be out there pretty darn quick, and they'll board it up and secure it. PD also has their own contractor that'll do the same thing.
Is that a problem in Scottsdale?
It has been. Overall, not, but to me, if there's one, it's too many. It's just, especially it seems to happen in residential neighborhoods and with the kids around. That scares me a lot. So here's a pool party that went really bad. One thing you want to know about on these pools, that we can go in there with a court order abatement form. It's issued through the court. I'll cover that here in a little bit more. It's one of our tools. We can, within 24 hours, have the pool drained with the court permission. But we also have pumps that will lend out to the property owners. If you need, you're willing to do what it takes, we'll get you the tools to solve the problem. So, this is not medical marijuana. Those are weeds, different kind of weeds, I guess. Can I say that on film? Sorry. And this is obviously somebody just not taking care of it. So, I'm not sure if there's a violation here. I don't know if you guys see anything, but we actually got that cleaned up. So a lot of people will say, well, it's in my backyard. Nobody can see it. Well, we have jurisdiction from the edge of the curb line through the center line of the alley. We have more leniency. With backyards, more flexibility with that. But we're not going to let a dumping ground happen either, because it's going to impact the rest of the neighborhood. So where's that? There it goes. I mean, there's 4 cars there. I think there were still 2 others. Paint needs to be done. You got weeds, storage, a bunch of stuff there. So, and believe it or not, there's more like that in Scottsdale. So, right-of-way issues. Unfortunately, these people live here have to maintain all that. Big problem is there's no gates. These people have to walk all the way around and take care of it, and then bring all the garbage back around to the front of their house. We do have volunteer programs that try and help out through Boy Scouts and Operation Fix It. A lot of church groups are also willing to step up and lend a hand on this one. So, because we do have a number of elderly folks that live around there, and so we always try and look at how can we help them before we just go out there and give the notice. And you look at the big picture, and that's kind of frustrating. I know I would be frustrated to have to take care of it. You're not going to get your baby stroller down through there. We always want to keep the sidewalks clear, any vegetation behind the sidewalk. We don't want to be parking up on the sidewalks for obvious reasons. So little things like that, it's our department who gets to take care of it. And then you have your obligatory outdoor storage. Basically, I don't want to be able to see it from the street. You're going to be okay. And finally, junked cars. Put it in the garage, put it in the backyard, but not the 4 or 5 you just saw on the other photo, okay? If it's one, yeah, it's okay, but we'll never let it be on the street like that.
How long do you have? Like, say you're working on your car, I mean, theoretically.
Well, in that case, I mean, there's no engine. He does have the license, but you can see it's up on jacks. We're going to try and make contact. If we can't make contact with anybody, we're going to give 72 hours, and then PD will go out there and they will actually tow it if it's not taken care of. And so we give them some time, but we can't have a lot of time. That's the city right away, and we're in a litigious society, so we can't have it sitting there like that. Solving some of our key issues. Our signs, and if you're here for the business end of things, signs are a huge issue, believe it or not, for businesses. We were always hearing, they want to put out the A-frame, they want to put out the banner. Scottsdale's not going to allow for some of those, not in certain situations, okay? like I said, we have one of the strictest sign ordinances. We do have some allowances. A A-frame by your front door, if I can't see it from the street, we're going to allow for. A grand opening banner can be purchased through our zoning department. They're good for 30 days. That's a great way to go about it. And then the campaign signs, not a whole lot we can do about it. We covered that earlier. It's state regulation. You also have the sign spinners. Not a whole lot we can do about it. State says they can do it. And last year we removed about 2,400 illegal signs from the right-of-way, in addition to enforcing the illegal banners, A-frames, neon signs, and we've extended our sign enforcement to weekends and nights also. So we pretty much out there 7 days a week sometimes, I wouldn't say 24 hours, but quite a bit out in the evenings and nights, or nights, weekends. We've found that educating the businesses on the front end can help with the sign issues later. So if you're planning on opening up or expanding your business, please reach out to the city, whether through its economic vitality, code enforcement, or planning and zoning. Ask about the sign regulations. It's constantly changing. They're looking at ways to, between monument signs. We used to not even have the grand opening banners. But the A-frames, I don't think are ever going to be something that's going to be allowed for in the right-of-ways and so forth. It kind of makes Scottsdale a little bit different from, if you think about the other municipalities that surround us. So, some of our tools to solve other key issues. We mentioned abatements. It's another tool for our inspectors' toolboxes. Any life-threatening issues can be streamlined through the court. Like I said, within 24 hours, sometimes the same day. If we get it early enough, we can get it over to the prosecutor, get in front of the judge. By that afternoon, we could have the place, whether it's a pool, we could have it drained. If it's a empty building, we can have it boarded up, whatever the case may be. Anything that's non-life threatening, by state law, we have to wait 30 days. So sometimes we'll go out there, issue the citation along with an abatement notice, because we can write as many citations as we want during the whole 30 days. So it kind of encourages people to move along and get it taken care of in the 30 days. Everyone understand that one? Pretty simple. One of my pride and joys is in 2009, we collaborated with the police department to create a bike unit. It was designed to help reduce fuel costs and create better citizen contacts. From what we can tell at this point, we've probably saved about $15,000 in gas and maintenance on each of the code enforcement vehicles that we have in our fleet. It's allowed us to patrol areas that you can't really get a vehicle into, on the bike paths maybe, some of the wash areas, things of that nature. The program's been really well received by our inspectors, but also by the community. The inspectors like it because they can see things a lot closer. They're riding up to the front door to talk to people. And the neighborhoods have seen it as a friendlier enforcement option, and they've been responding by having a 95% compliance rate in several of the neighborhoods that we use the bikes in. Fortunately, this time of year, I can't talk anybody into getting out and ride. So there's our first team. I know that fat guy is on the right. But, as we said earlier, it gives us another way to interact directly with the citizens, and this increased our compliance rate. If you remember earlier, we said we're averaging about 71%. We went up to 25% in the areas we use the bike, so we increased it by almost 25%, and we're getting another 30% more, 30% more personal contacts using the bikes. So it's just another way we've been able to units, the code enforcement unit and the police department have been able to work together and keep Scottsdale looking good. We get into the downtown area, these bikes, we can carry spray paint to do graffiti removal. We don't issue the hard notices, they're more door hangers, so that helps be a little bit more friendlier. It's just kind of a reminder. And the city's actually funding some of the equipment now. We took the bikes from PD and we just refurbished them. They were not using them. They probably would have, I guess, went to handlebar helpers or somebody like that. And we asked if we could have a few, and we fixed them up, and it's been a really good experience. Yes, sir.
Are those your guys or those PD scouts?
Those are These are our code guys. This is all a volunteer team. I mean, they're code inspectors, but they don't have to ride the bikes. They can drive the truck if they want to. We just wanted to give them another alternative. And we have 12 inspectors, so what do I got? 6, half of my team is certified on the bikes. And every 2 years we go through training with the police department. And it's probably coming up this year, if I remember correctly. And the PD is talking about getting us into the preserve area, which I'm a little bit nervous about. Because some of the training those bike guys do, I'm telling you, they have us going down these stairs at the here at the library, those steep ones. You got to learn to go down those and up those. I'm like going, wow. So it's been a real adventure doing that. But so now their next thing is try and get us into the preserve too. But yes, these are all certified inspectors through the state, and they work for us. All right, earlier we said the code enforcement objective is to maintain community aesthetics and well-being in Scottsdale neighborhoods by proactively addressing the blight and nuisances. At the forefront of that blight is graffiti abatement. You guys see a lot of graffiti in Scottsdale? It's because we're good. We have a very aggressive graffiti abatement program. Our goal is to abate reported graffiti within 24 to 48 hours. As well as to abate graffiti that is proactively identified by our inspectors. Each of our vehicles are stocked with paint or a product called Graffiti X. So our inspectors can do some of the smaller tags. We do have one full-time employee who will handle the larger things like you'll see here in a minute. And she has a truck, power washers, sprayer, and all that stuff. We get paint donated, and we sometimes buy paint. Last year we abated about 1,300 large ones like this. That doesn't really count the smaller ones that we did also. So we're doing a pretty good job of getting out there and seeing it right away. The guys patrol early in the morning and right before they leave. And then we have our weekend crews too that handle it. So it's been a community expectation that the graffiti be abated in a timely manner. But statistics have also shown that the sooner graffiti is abated, the less likely it will reappear in the same spot. Let me see, where did I leave this off? Scottsdale's also been successful with restitution through the courts. When PD can catch somebody, they'll come through us, ask us on the site how long we were there, how much paint we used, the hourly rate for the person that's doing the graffiti, the mileage, the equipment costs, all that stuff. We work that into the restitution. It comes to a few $100s, not a whole lot, but it's, I think, sent a good message to some of the taggers, and I wish we'd catch more of them. I'd like to see them do the covering, actually, it would be nice. But you hit them in the pocket a little bit, and so that's the 1,300 graffiti cases is actually down a little bit, so we're seeing less, but that's still one too many. And what we'll do is we'll go square off the area, apply 2 coats of paint. In the past, they used to just cover this little bit, and then you had these patchwork walls, and it wasn't something I liked. I believe in neatness counts. So we'll square it off there, 2 coats of paint. When we can, we'll match it best we can, and we continue to work proactively to abate the graffiti by utilizing our whole team instead of just one person. This is the rig she uses. This has to get down into washes underneath tunnels sometimes as we go further up north, canal bank areas, skate parks. That, I don't know if you've seen some of those, are pretty deep, and we have to get a ladder in there, climb down, cover it, and so forth. It looks pretty simple right there, but it's pretty decked out on all the stuff she keeps in there. And I don't know, someday I have a dream that we'll get maybe a ATV for the desert area, so that she has to go through sometime. And right now the preserve helps us because they have a quad, and they'll ride her out there, and then she can get some of the tunnel or wash areas that have been tagged, and she'll clean it. We have a portable gun, and she'll go in and take care of that. So it's some of the stuff she's had to go to. It's been pretty good. Unfortunately, the city cannot solve all problems residents face, but there are individual groups willing to step up and go to the extra mile. And one of these great programs has been the Operation Fix It, Neighbors Helping Neighbors. It teams up volunteers and local businesses. If you're opening up a business and want to get your team out there, or maybe you manage a bunch of people, church groups get involved in this too. They've supplied resources, as in money. They've also provided equipment to repair things. A number of businesses. I know Home Depot has been involved, Lowe's. Used to be Dial. I can't remember the name of the company now. What's that? Henkel. Thank you. They've donated. A number of other groups have stepped up and donated money and supplies. And so in 2013, Operation Fix It provided assistance to over 50 properties, totaling over 2,500 hours of labor. Our volunteers remove grass, weeds, they'll paint houses. The list just goes on. I mean, it's really a great program. It's relatively new. We do have a full-time person dedicated to it. And this time of year, again, we're not getting a whole lot of volunteers. So if you really want to make a difference, think about the summer, okay? But come fall, winter, and spring, we got more volunteers than we know what to do with sometimes, and but it's great when we have you see the income, and we have some packets over there if you need it. You can take them on your way out and contact, but a lot of seniors get a lot of great help out of this, as you'll see here. We have some before and after photos from Operation Fix It projects. This was just a landscaping one. This was two older ladies. Their fence came down during monsoon season. So all that fencing, this area is actually further over there. So it was a pie-shaped lot. It was quite a bit of work there for the group, but they posted them all in there, and these ladies were very grateful.
Homeowners have to ask for that, or can somebody else ask for them?
Anybody can ask for them, but the homeowner's going to have to meet the requirements.
And approve, right?
Yeah, so we're going to need their information to make sure that they would qualify, that they don't have the funding, and that's where Michelle does a lot of the background work on that. And this was just some paint that was for the trim. I believe this was a church group that got out there and took care of this house. Our tool lending center, our TLC. You guys are almost done. The tool lending trailer, our 20-foot trailer is stocked with landscape tools. This rolls out to all of our Operation Fix It projects. Our code inspectors will deliver it the day before, pick it up the day after. Think of any landscaping tool, construction tool you can think of other than saws. You're probably going to find it in here. This is also used if individuals can't come up with the resources. I've had a number of people, my lawnmower broke, it's in the shop, I can't get it back for 2 weeks after I get paid. Hey, I got a lawnmower, you sign this waiver, I'll bring it out to you, cut your grass, case is closed. Very simple. Or they need a weed eater, or they need a bag and a pick to get the weeds out, I'll bring that out to them too. So it can be individuals, it can be groups, it can be part of Operation Fix It. It has no limitations really. So, and that's on our website, or if you know somebody, or again, if you have a business that you're going to open up or you're managing, you want to get a group project going, it's a great way to utilize it, and we'll supply the tools, you just give us the labor. What you can do to be in compliance, obviously keep all grass and lawns 6 inches or shorter, remove any uncultivated grass and weeds from rock landscape. I love when people say, well, I'm growing that weed there. No, you just said it's a weed. Am I keeping you up? Okay. Didn't mean to bug you. Oh, I told you, there's other things you could do on a Friday afternoon, all right?
I thought coffee would fix it.
I should have warned you, you get a double. To remove the uncultivated grass and weeds from the rock landscape, not storing anything in your carport. A lot of people, once we know what's going on, sometimes there's a death in the family, things come or have to go, we're going to work with you. So, I don't want anybody to panic, the code's going to be here, they're going to give us a citation. I now have people calling us just to let us know, hey, I'm going to get right on this. And okay, well, we haven't been out there, so appreciate the heads up, and we'll let the inspectors know. Make all building exterior repairs immediately. Again, whether it's residential or commercial, we're looking at that, chipping, peeling paint, roof damage, things of that nature. So make those repairs as fast as you can. Inoperable vehicles, talked about, do it in a closed area or garage or backyard, but only one.
How about things like boats?
What about them?
Well, can you keep them on the driveway, on the side of your house?
Yep.
Or does maybe-
All right, long as it's operable. It uses, our ordinance used to say, and well, I'm not going to give it away yet. Long as it's operable, it can be out there, okay? We don't regulate beauty on vehicles, and unfortunately some people want us to do that. They'll say, oh, that's a 63 Volkswagen that's rusted out, looks like you know what, and it's, she or he may not like it, seeing it in the driveway, but it might be a classic and it be a treasure to you, long as it's running. That's all we're looking for. So, did that answer your question? Okay. And how you can help is routinely maintain, clean your adjacent alley if you have one. This is a huge thing. A lot of people don't realize they're responsible to the center line of any alley that they're adjacent to. The city does go through there and treat it for grass, weeds, and debris, but the regular day-to-day maintenance or any illegal dumping, I'm sorry to say, we're going to be knocking on your door saying, guess what, you need to take care of this. And again, we'll work with you where we can, but it is your responsibility. Keep your eye out for violators. Call us, let us know so we can get out there. We do need extra eyes and ears. We don't see everything. Collaborate to help others in need. The operation fix it. Again, it's just amazed to see the turnout that we get and the volunteerism here in Scottsdale. It's a huge part of why this city looks so great. And then report all violations of graffiti by calling our hotline or emailing it to us. And we have some information sheets over there that have our contact information. All right, you guys ready for the quiz?
Let's go.
I actually had candy to give you guys if you got it right, but I have two very young kids and they found the bag. That's my story, I'm sticking to it,
Yeah.
all right? So. All right, a vehicle stored in the driveway must be currently licensed and operable. True or false?
False if you said just off.
Right, so you were paying attention. Recently, I think it was March, we changed our Chapter 18 and it used to say operable and licensed. So now it's just, because we're talking about a tag on a car, that doesn't really hurt anybody's property value, so we remove that from the regulations. Code enforcement will make my neighbor's dog stop barking. False, exactly. Scottsdale Police Department at 312-5000 handles disturbance of the peace issues. We also have a free mediation program that can help out through the city. That's always a good way to start too. Sometimes it amazes me, neighbors don't talk to neighbors, or they don't know their neighbors, and I never understood that. I annoy the heck out of my neighbors. I can have as many garage sales as I want. What do we got? Speak up.
Where you live.
I know you're not getting chocolate, but you can speak up.
In the homeowners, it's false.
In homeowners, it's false. In the city, it's false too. You're permitted 2 a year, and then we'll consider you a commercial business. Okay. And to answer your question with HOAs, a lot of people will say my HOA doesn't allow this or that. We don't enforce on the HOAs. So we can only go what Chapter 18 says in the zoning ordinance. Okay. We're almost done. Come on. I worked really hard on that. That's why I wanted you to see that. City can make my landlord fix an operable air conditioning unit. True? All right. That's right. That falls back to our Uniform Housing Code. It talks about mechanical repairs, especially when I was talking about it earlier. I said this is very effective in a slumlord situation if necessary. We get access in there. We have the resources to make them have that repaired. So.
Commercial and residential or both?
Just residential. Commercial, you guys have a binding contract. We're not going to get involved in that. So. And that, again, falls under the Uniform Housing Code. And last, I can do whatever I want to with my property. Everybody false. We just went over. That's why I'm here. Okay. We have zoning and property maintenance regulations that are in effect, and that's where you'll have code enforcement employed to take care of those things. So added that one too. I like that. So and there's our bike program, riding away. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for taking care of your business in Scottsdale. Scottsdale's Economic Development Department can help your business grow strong in one of the nation's most dynamic cities. For more information, visit choosescottsdale.com or call 480-312-7989.